Now, the Rams Sports Desk.
Well, if you made the trip to Belmont Park today, you were witness to history. Just 3 years after American Pharoah broke the Triple Crown drought, Justify became the latest to become immortalized. We wondered if Justify would get out to an early lead following his break from the disadvantageous first position, and he did. Justify hugging the rail and setting a fast opening pace. Today's field was supposed to challenge Justify. He looked vulnerable in the Preakness, but not even a horse named Gronkowski could ruin New Yorkers' dreams of witnessing another Triple Crown champion. Justify going wire to wire, and after going 37 years without a Triple Crown, New Yorkers have seen 2 in 4 years. Justify joining Seattle Slew as the only undefeated horse to win the Triple Crown. We are joined now by former NYRA jockey and horse racing analyst Maylan Studart joins us. Maylan, boy, can you believe it? Another Triple Crown champion in just a handful of years.
I kind of can't. I'm still like, it's like when Pharoah won. Like, did he really break that Triple Crown drought? I'm so excited. We're here. It's Triple Crown. I can't believe it. We did it. 3 years later.
Right.
We got another one.
We all here in New York, we all feel like we're so much a part of it because it's happening in our own backyard. So let's kind of break down what we saw. We knew he wanted to come out of the first gate in the lead. Nobody beat him to the turn. Did he win the race coming out of the gate right there?
Yes. That's what he did.
Yeah.
When he broke out of that gate, the first 3 steps, I was like, he's on the lead. Because Justify was the lone speed in this race. He couldn't have gotten a better field and a better post position. So he had the #1 post, and he's a naturally fast horse. So all Mike Smith had to go was, and then he just took off, and he's right there on the lead. He doesn't need to come over on horses. He doesn't need to go to do anything. Just go straight.
Yeah.
And he found himself on the lead. And once he did that, he was able to slow it down because nobody challenged him, and he got it.
I think what's so amazing about this horse is he was so lightly raced. It's from 117 days to Triple Crown champion. This horse went from the unknown to the most well-known horse in the world. The fact that he was able to cram all of that experience into just 117 days, does that make what he did even more impressive?
He is impressive.
Okay.
Nothing he would have done, you know, he's a naturally impressive horse from his first start. But what happened with Justify, that he only ran this year, I think that's great. A great move by Bob Baffert, because that's the natural thing to do for horses. When you're 2 years old, you're a baby. Your bones aren't strengthened yet. Your joints are still growing. In equestrian sports, you usually don't start a horse until they're 4 years old, when they're fully developed. So when you're pounding your horse racing when you're 2 years old, like a lot of the horses that we did see winning a lot when they're 2 years old, but then coming in the 3-year-old season and
does it set them
choking.
up for injuries possibly?
It does. It does set them up for injury. I mean, look at Nyquist. Look at I'll Have Another.
Right.
You know, there's so many horses just couldn't make it. Now, you know, Bob Baffert, I don't know what was in his mind when he thought, you know what, let me give this horse a little more time to develop. You know, let me start him when he's ready, because I know Bob, you know, that's what good trainers do.
Sure.
They let the horse tell you when they're ready to start racing.
Wow.
So the fact that he did that, this horse is so strong. And one of the keys to winning the Triple Crown is not getting injured.
Yeah, that's true. You've got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to run.
Uncle Mo, remember Uncle Mo?
Right, Uncle Mo.
So many horses.
Yeah.
So maybe this could be a start to a new thing, a new trend.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. Maybe Baffert's method is going to open the door to other trainers to taking the same approach.
That would be a great idea.
I keep them all healthy.
Yeah.
Especially with the fragility of these horses these days.
Right.
So he ran a quick start opening quarter in 23 seconds, slowed the pace a little bit, running a 48, the half mile. Similar fractions to what he ran in the Kentucky Derby. What does that tell you?
So what he did in the Derby is he sat outside horses, right? Here he went to the lead. Let's talk about the Belmont. He went to the lead. But let's go back to the Derby, right? He waited for the horses on the lead to do the dirty work, to go fast, So he was basically running his own fractions that he did today, but the other horse in front of him were going faster. So he let the other horses go faster and do the dirty work, and then he just, Mike Smith just pressed a button at the quarter pole in the Derby, and then he went. Now, and then he won. Now going into the Preakness, it's a naturally, the racetrack plays speed naturally, right? And that's what he did. He also has a natural speed. Nobody went with him except Chad Brown's horse. And he took off and he made it there. Now in the Belmont, that's what you have to do in the Belmont. You have to get those slow fractions all around the track, like American Pharoah did when he won too.
So you have enough juice in the final furlong. Now, this was different as well because the first two races of the Triple Crown were in the slop. This was, Big Sandy was clean. It was a clean run for him. Does that make a big difference for a horse to run in the slop?
It makes a huge difference. That's why Justify's win today was fair and square. I mean, he beat all the horses. There's no wet track that would put a Bravazzo up ahead, that would put a Tenfold up ahead. When you have a sloppy track, some horses love the wet track, and that gives them an advantage. Now, when that racetrack is dry, everybody's playing fair and square. So what happened today was that the track has a nickname that is Big Sandy.
Right.
It's known as Big Sandy. And the fact that Justify just took off and staved off Gronkowski, that is huge, and that is why he won the Triple Crown.
Well, he also staved off another one of Bob Baffert's horses. Restoring Hope was keeping up with Justify the first turn, and then all of a sudden, the jockey for Restoring Hope pulled him back a little bit and waved him to the outside. Could that open up a door to possible controversy here?
I saw controversy when I saw, yes.
Yeah, Restoring Hope, yeah.
The horse wanted to go to the lead. He had what it took to take the lead, and he was pulled back. And that kind of bothered me, and I'm thinking to myself, as a jockey that I am, when they tell you don't take the lead, or when they tell you, there's so many things I heard when I was a jockey. The first thing I thought when that horse was taken back, it was like the owners. What are the owners thinking? Did they want this too? Because we know what Baffert wants for Justify to win. But what about this other horse that it's a different owner? If it's an entry like 1 and 1A from the same owners, it's different. You have a rabbit and sets the pace, and the other one makes it. It's different. But when it's different owners from the same trainer, I mean, bettors really have to pay attention to this. And I don't know what happened. I mean, this is just my theory, what I saw with my own eyes as my profession from 9 years experience as a jockey on Belmont. But the horse was
just looked
clearly
questionable.
The lead.
That's the thing. It just looked questionable.
It did.
To see the horse strong enough to stay with Justify, and then he pulls him back, and then you realize he was trained by the same trainer. It's something that somebody's certainly going to be asking about. So the obvious comparisons here are going to be with American Pharoah. So I have to ask you, who wins in a match race when both these horses are at their prime, Justify or American Pharoah?
I have to say American Pharoah, just because Pharoah has this unique body type. He's got this stride. It's like a dragon, when a dragon raises his wings and it just glides through the air, you know dragons, right?
You're so descriptive. I can tell the love that you have for these horses. You're measuring their strides.
And that's his advantage. He has a physical advantage. I mean, Justify is a great horse, and he looks a little bit more typical, like a big, talented horse. But I think if he eyed American Pharoah next to him, I think Pharoah would take off just because he never got challenged in his career.
Real quick, Bob Baffert, 15th Triple Crown win. Twice he's won the actual full Triple Crown. Does this cement his legacy? We've got 30 seconds.
Absolutely cements his legacy. He's the greatest trainer in America, arguably the world. He's done it.
He's done everything ever asked.
Everything.
And amazingly, this is a trainer who was at one time known as being the bridesmaid because he couldn't win the Triple Crown. But I tell you what, it's been an incredible day for Bob Baffert, for jockey Mike Smith, for Justify, and everybody that was out there at Belmont
for the
Park.
fans.
Yeah.
For the fans.
It's just a tremendous day.
Beautiful.
Former NYRA jockey Maylan Studart, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Such a pleasure being here always. I love the horses. Please keep the horses on TV. Thank you.
Looking forward to it next year already.
All right. Yep.
All right, thanks
Perfect.
again.
Thank you,
All right,
Steve.
stick around. We'll be right back.